Figure 4 Radio.
Lock it in. Lock it in. Lock it in.
Hello and welcome to another Figure 4 Radio podcast with me, the Killer Carl Brand, and like always, I'm joined by the mastermind, the cable guy, the teleria fixerer. He wants to say a rude word about me. It's Ollie Spring.
Hello.
Hello. And like always, and yet again for the 10th week in a row, we still have not had the video on our Instagram at Figure 4 Radio.
That's true.
On our Facebook page at facebook.com/Figure4 Radio, or indeed our website, figure4radio.weebly.com, of Luca Mac doing the Luca Mac across the foyer.
Totally could have done that last night.
I could have done, actually.
Yeah. Not good enough. Not
Bastard.
good enough. Maybe we need a performance review, Kai, for the newbie.
It would help. It would help to promote our very much new Instagram page.
It would indeed.
Mr. Lucomac.
Yes, hello everyone. We will get it sorted. I'm going to
Yes.
have to find someone that
Need
will
to see this.
find someone that will stand there and record it for me.
I'll do
Yes.
it.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Come
We'll do
into
it.
work and do it. That's
Do
fine.
it, yeah,
That
I'll
is-
do it. We'll
Okay.
probably be at the cinema sometime soon. So.
It's now
that's
you've
fine.
now got to do it with a Perry Saturn style mop. With a fan. Speaking of Perry Saturn and his mops, we're talking about gimmicks this week, so we can either do wrestlers or matches. I don't mind.
I love a good
go.
gimmick. I love a good gimmick. I really do.
Which way do we want to go? You want to go wrestlers or want to go matches? We
Yes.
talked about hardcore last week, so
We were.
Should we go on to my one that I'm really trying to push is my Finest Keepers match.
So I reckon we can make this a two-parter. We can go matches and we could do wrestlers.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't care.
Either or.
Let's do matches first. 'Cause
Do matches.
We talked about hardcore.
So
it's a nice little touch.
So for those of you, those listeners who haven't listened to every minute of every other podcast
You're a
and
bastard.
somehow have missed Kai's Finders Keepers match, do you want to run us through it?
Can you remember the TV show of Finest Keepers where you got two brats or four brats or whatever, two teams of brats
Yep.
going around a house trying to find these clues, trying to find these things. It was like,
I always used to remember watching it thinking how cool it must be to go in the parents' room because I was never allowed in my parents' room. I was like, oh my god,
Trash it.
they're rooting through their parents' like wardrobes and stuff.
Because your
Like
parents had gimmicks, they played with them as well.
maybe. I used to quite like that show.
yeah, it had Neil Buchanan. I think it had like Jade Goody's
What?
ex-husband.
Really?
Did the reboot? Yeah, I can't remember what his name.
Oh, did it? There was a reboot.
Jeff somebody. I don't
Jeff Jeffson.
know. Why not? Yeah, Jeff McJeffface.
Jeffy
So yeah,
McJeffers.
you got two titles. So you've got, let's say, Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles going for the WWE Heavyweight title, but they don't know where in this house the title is, so they just
What house?
trash the house.
What house are we talking? Like just like a one-bedroom kind of.
Vince McMahon's mansion. Why not? Let's
Well,
pick this up.
that
Fuck
match
this
could
shit.
take hours.
It could, or it could take 5 minutes. You just don't know where that title is.
True, but imagine how many houses, how many
Probably
rooms
a
he's got in his
standard
house.
two bedroom house.
Yeah.
2 up, 2 down type
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, just
why
go
not?
for a standard terrace house.
Just trash it.
Yeah.
Dixie Carter's house. Why not? That's all they're going to do now. But yeah, they have to literally trash the place. You're going to have stuff being smashed over their head. You're going to have Mick Foley come in, probably do something.
Coming out of the bog.
Yeah,
Had a
why
re-
not? Why
had
not?
a really
There's
mean,
Mick Foley going, yeah, bang, bang.
really mean shit. And what if the belt's hidden
could you
behind the
have-
cistern? You know, like
Could you have the boogeyman under the bed?
Why not?
That would be amazing.
You can have guest appearance with
I see. The match hasn't been made yet, but I think I already know where the belt is.
where?
Down the back of the sofa, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Everything's down there. It's like fucking Narnia in there. You just put your hand in. There's a whole new world.
You won't
Find
believe it, but you
fiver
got,
in change and a bit of cheesy Wotsit covered in fluff.
Small African man is just in there.
blow off the dust and you're fine.
Yeah,
3 generations of
Yeah.
hamster. So yeah,
Last year's Christmas turkey.
yeah, it's just there it is. Yeah, gimmick matches. I love a good gimmick match. I really do. I'm a TNA fan.
They love their gimmicks.
It just makes it different, and I think we covered this when we're talking about the promotions. Is being different because there's only so much you can do with a 1-on-1 or a 2-on-2 standard match. Although, granted, NXT are doing a fucking good job of it. Can you believe it? Coming up, NXT is going to have a cage match. They've never had a cage match
Their
before.
first ever
They've only
cage
had
match.
like one ladder match.
Balor versus Samoa Joe for the NXT
Again,
title.
I'm not really
gonna be
fussed about that
nuts.
match. I've seen that match so many times now. It's just like,
But now it's in a cage. I'm like, oh fuck! Like
Yeah.
this is now interesting. I think it adds another level of intrigue, and it just because look at things like boxing and UFC. Every fight is the same, really.
I'd like you to say that to one of them.
Yeah.
Tactically, entertainment-wise, there's nothing different in a match.
No.
But then it's like, shit, he hasn't fought him, who's going to win, yada yada. It's kind of like that. So you have
but you get that in wrestling as well.
Yeah.
But the fact that there's gimmick matches, like you
more
say,
legitimate.
if it was just another Samoa Joe Finn Balor match, you'd be like, meh. But now it's in a cage. It's like, oh,
yeah.
There's like the amount of it just opens up so many possibilities for improvisation and other words that mean improvisation. I'm trying to. All of a sudden, last night I was up quite late, and my brain hasn't really worked today. So words and the mouth, they're just not connecting.
That's like me on most days. It's fine.
That's true. This is what it's like to be Killer Kai.
Yeah, pretty much.
I meant to say innovation.
Yeah.
That's the word I was looking for. I don't know. What did I come up with? Improvise.
Improvisation.
Close enough. Yeah. Improvisation, innovation.
Gimmick matches does allow you to improvise while you're out there. Of course,
yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen?
But it's like, like you can, okay, I can do my finisher just normally. But we now have a cage. Can I do my finisher off the top of a cage? Can I do my finisher on you through a ladder? Can I do my finisher on you into a river? There's so many new pathways that are opened up in these matches. I'm going to throw a couple of random ones out there because I don't think either. Well, you might have heard of them. Have you heard in TNA the Dixieland match?
Yes.
Was that with the spinning wheel?
No.
That's with the ladder outside.
Yeah, basically the Dixieland match was you start off in a cage.
Yeah.
You have to climb out of the cage, go up the entrance ramp, and the belt is suspended above the entrance
That's
ramp.
how Magnus won the first heavyweight. Yes, it was. Yeah,
because Spud came out and pushed Jeff Hardy off the ladder down the ramp. It was a one-spot match. Really, all they wanted to do was find an excuse to push Jeff Hardy off a ladder that was at the top of an entrance ramp. But it was a good...
Just ask him. I'm sure he'd say, oh, yeah, that's fine. Do it in any match.
We don't need a gimmick for that. I'll just climb a ladder randomly.
Yeah, I'm on so many drugs. It doesn't matter.
But I love that idea. Of course, you got Lethal Lockdown. I still can't remember the other... I'm going to have to look it up on my phone. The big red cage match that TNA had. Kai, you love talking about the reverse battle royal.
No, because it's absolutely shocking. So you get a normal battle royal, and for some reason Vince Russo decides, you know what would be a great idea? I don't know if it's him. It probably was him. It would get everybody outside of the ring, and so many competitors who get into the ring. I think it was like 5 or something. They'll go off and do something else. But yeah, let's get the first 5 people into the ring will then win the match. Something ridiculous.
But that just sounds ridiculous. That's essentially a scramble over the top rope.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Rikishi, I don't know who he was in TNA, but he was in that match, and I remember him being part of the... I think he was in the ring first of all. But also TNA had a steel cage match. It was blindfolded and also electrified.
The TNA match I'm thinking of was the Steel Asylum match. Have either of you guys seen the Steel Asylum match?
Steel Asylum match? No.
It looks kind of like...
a massive phone box.
Elimination Chamber.
Kind of like Elimination Chamber, but you have to win by climbing up and out through the hole in the top of the cage.
I've seen clips of that.
Absolutely bonkers. Ultimate X is another one that I absolutely love. And I think that was a match that put TNA on the map because it was so different. And some of my favourite spots in TNA have come from Ultimate X matches. But like I said, and spots that you couldn't get any other way, I don't think. Like jumping, like someone's hanging from a wire, and then you manage to kind of swing down and hit him with a cutter that you then fall to the mat. It's crazy shit that I like seeing. Have you got? Has Luke got his list again?
I do have a list. I've got a list again this time as well.
Go for it. Let's see what you got this time.
What have I got on here? Just pole matches in general.
Just blank on a pole.
Yeah,
I don't get that.
Whatever it was, no.
Because the rule is always if you get the item, you're allowed to use it. But then that's never the way, is it? Because the person that gets it will then probably drop it and then get
There was one which again I've not written this one down actually, but it was Booker T versus Jeff Jarrett, and there were 4 boxers in each corner.
Yep.
And one of them was meant to hold the title.
And didn't the box break?
Yeah, that held the title in it. But the first one fell within the first 30 seconds, and it had a blow-up doll in it.
Wow.
And it's like, how are you going to use that in a wrestling match?
Kind of reminds me of the Feast or Fired match in TNA.
I was going to bring that one up.
Another match I absolutely love because it takes the sort of Money in the Bank idea, but it kind of adds another thing because someone gets fired.
Everyone has a briefcase.
Every title was there, and someone's just lost their job.
Yeah.
It's like,
That was good.
wow, it's like the biggest opportunity of your life. Because
And that's the thing,
champion,
like-
or you're fucked.
Yeah, I love that match.
because I think the last time I saw that, Chavo Guerrero got fired.
Yes.
I was hoping he got fired. I was very happy when Chavo got fired. Not that I don't want anyone to lose their job, but I'm just not a Chavo fan.
Unless your name's Chavo Guerrero.
Well, no, I mean,
But
good luck to him in his future
he's-
endeavours and all.
He's
but-
doing all right for himself. He's in Lucha Underground, which they do something I quite like. It's called the Aztec Warfare.
What's that?
It's essentially a Royal Rumble, but instead of chucking yourself over the ring, you have to pin or submit. So that opens it
Okay.
up, and because their basic
And
arena
is it still 2 minutes a new person comes in?
yeah, something like that.
Give or take, yeah.
give or
But
take.
then
that opens
I'd
the
be
whole
intrigued.
temple up, so you're not
Yeah.
stuck in a ring. You're using the whole arena
You can
itself.
expand outside.
Exactly.
You can use the
Interesting.
tables. You can use the entrance
Yeah.
ramp. So
I like that,
It
do it.
opens it up so much more.
because like you look at those the most recent Elimination Chamber matches, I think I might be maybe a year ahead of myself. So it's elimination matches. I loved how many pinfall breakups there were. So like you're seeing a guy pinning another guy. Why make the save? I could try and think. I know Mark Henry did it a few
Yeah.
times. Ryback did it once.
that I never got that because you're essentially ruining your own chances.
Yeah, surely you want that person to pin the other
But
person.
then, could it depend on who the guy's pinning? Maybe the
That-
guy
well,
who's being pinned.
I think that's a very long stretch of an explanation for someone bodging.
Right.
I think. I mean,
Just trying to help him out, just trying to help Mark out.
It's a potential excuse, I guess, but I think that's a bit far fetched. If I was Vince McMahon and someone goes, "Oh, but Vince, my psychology was," I'd be like, get out my office. You're fired. Yeah, I fucking love it. I'm just going to keep... Every time we lose our track, I'm just going to come back and say, I fucking love gimmick matches.
Fair enough.
They
I've
are
got
good.
I've got some horrible ones written down here.
Yes, even better.
Even better. So the Kennel from Hell.
Yeah, I watched that recently.
Oh, really?
It was... The thing is, the concept was there, but the way they
think the
played the match
idea-
was awful.
I think the idea of, like you said earlier, of getting out of a cage, then having something there, and then having to get out again. That's a good idea.
That was brilliant.
But when the dogs are too
went...
busy humping each other
Yeah.
and really not giving two shits
Yep.
and dumping all over the floor, then it doesn't work.
No. In that match, at one point, I think it was Bossman actually got wire cutters and tried to cut the top of the cell open and climb out, which would have been a really good idea, but he just gave up halfway through, and then it was just left there.
For no
He
reason.
just broken a cage, the Hell in a Cell for no reason.
Yeah.
Probably had to pay for that as well.
Yeah.
Came out of his money.
Twat. Two I like, if we've finished on that one, is the King of the Mountain.
It's another
That's a
interesting
good-
one.
I never really liked it because
It's
I
a
never
good
got-
concept.
It's potentially overcomplicated in the whole penalty box thing, but I
Yeah.
think the penalty box thing is just an excuse to have a big box for someone to jump off,
Yeah.
to be honest.
And also an excuse for someone to go, well, I'm going to sit here for 2 minutes and wait for my spot.
Yeah,
Have a bit of a
that's
rush.
true.
That's
It
essentially
gets
what
them out
it
of the way,
is.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know why they've got a King of the Mountain title. That seems a bit far-fetched.
I don't
But-
like the concept of, right, here's my title and I have to hang it up in
Yeah.
order to win it. Like,
Yeah.
that's why I prefer ladder matches where it's, I need to take it down. I've got it.
Yeah.
close
I'm
enough,
not
isn't it?
putting
Yeah.
it somewhere, I'm taking it.
Yeah.
That's the bit
But
I didn't quite
But then once again,
understand
it's just slight little tweaks. It's innovations that make it different and make you think, wow, okay.
The actual
this-
match itself, I always enjoyed them.
Yeah.
They're not bad, no.
What other ones we got from non-TNA companies?
Well, I suppose if you're going to go for gimmick matches, like things like tables, ladders, and chairs are everywhere now.
Yep.
They
They are. I mean, we're sat on some chairs.
We are. We're at a
We're
table.
recording on a table. I can't
Got a
see any
ladder.
ladders, so you you were 2/3 right.
No, I've got an ironing board.
That would do. Table ladders,
And now tables, ladders, and ironing boards.
But then that comes back to one that we mentioned, the Jeff Jarrett China household match.
housekeeping. Yeah, they
Housekeeping
good
match.
housekeeping match. That was a weird one.
Is that where you got to put the shelf on properly?
No, you're allowed to use weapons that are household
That's
items.
not being a good household, though, is it?
Yeah.
Quite terrible.
The first person to put up a shelf wins.
Yeah, that's it. Correctly. Spirit level and everything.
China's fucked.
She doesn't know what a hammer is.
Wow. Yeah. What else have you got on your
What else have I got on here?
Let's hit some goods.
To be honest, I think they're mainly all wrestlers that I've written down.
Okay.
that were
How about
shocking.
Chamber of Horrors?
Yeah, that was on there.
That was a weird one.
Always a weird one. I always like the one I remember watching as a kid. I think I brought up briefly last week. Is the Inferno matches, the Human Torch matches.
I love Inferno
when
matches.
People are genuinely set alight, like MVP in against Kane where is it? Buttock was set alight.
Wow.
I remember even better than the Inferno match was with WCW. Instead of the ring being set alight, you're really stuck in the ring. You can get out, but it's a bit like, okay, what the fuck's this all about? Whereas you had a genuine light. You remember like Indiana Jones? They had those torches.
Yeah.
It was Vampiro versus Sting, one of the best matches and the best spots as a kid I ever seen.
Yeah.
They went to the top of the Titantron as well.
Wow.
And Sting got lit. He lost, and then he sort of jumped off the Titantron. So it was that bump as well.
Jeez.
Stuntman, but we'll
Yeah.
rush past that bit.
Yeah.
But it's that sort of gimmick and that sort of spot and that whole match, because it was a proper match, yet with some hardcore elements to it, and again, a man being set alight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy
Hell
stuff.
yeah.
What about
and then
those-
jumping off this massive
What
thing.
about things like scaffold matches?
Those, yeah, I've watched a few of them. I've watched one. I've watched the one where Jim Cornette gets his knees properly fucked.
Yeah.
I don't get. I mean,
I heard about
yeah.
I've
That's
seen that.
so. The idea of the match is just the first one to push your opponent off a scaffold wins.
yeah.
Like that. I'm not
Again,
so.
it's a bit like
sure
last
on.
week's one. It's a hardcore one, but at the same time, it's a gimmick one.
It's very much
yeah.
just There's. I mean, but I think the whole thing around it is just someone just wants to see someone fall off something high.
Yeah.
They don't care how.
It's
They
like,
don't care why or who. Anyone.
Any time Shane McMahon is involved in a match, you know he's
Yep.
going to jump off something
Yep.
really,
This
really
is very
high.
true.
Actually,
Yeah.
can I-
That's
what-
what sold the WrestleMania 32 match.
Yes.
While we're talking about gimmick matches, can I go on my cage match rant?
Yeah,
you've
I know
heard-
this is
I've got a
going-
point after your cage match, but I've got
Because the thing that pisses me off with cage matches is that the way they're always sold is that you're locked in there with someone. So the idea is that the heel, the babyface wants the heel that keeps kind of running away. So they want them locked in a cage, so they've got nowhere to run. Alternatively, they want them locked in a cage so their friends and colleagues can't get involved and interfere. Yet the door is unlocked and you're able to win by walking out of the door. Pisses me off.
Not all the time. Didn't Ken Anderson or Mr. Anderson and Kurt Angle have a match where if they wanted to get out of the door, they had to get the key, and the key was with the ref? And
No, I think the key was with one or the other wrestler, and they had a match for the key,
Yeah,
which was
something
a
like that.
slight improvement. But generally speaking, these days you can win by walking out of there, and you're not locked in a fucking cage with someone if it's not locked. It just
start with.
pisses me off. It
But
pisses me off. I love the idea.
Hell in a Cell.
Yeah,
I think we
that's
talked about
that's
this
why
in
Hell
one
in
of
a
the
Cell is
first,
brilliant because the door is locked. Yeah,
And when the Undertaker shuts that door, you are fucked.
that's it. I mean, there's
Unless
always
your name's Kane and you come and rip off his
That's
head.
it. There's always ways in and out, but you are locked in there with someone. There is nowhere to run. You can't just turn to the fucking door. It's like if you go to prison, you're locked in prison. But if you want to walk out the door, just go for it, mate. You know, just, honestly, there you go. I'll hold it open. We'll even
That
get a
does
man
sound
in a
like our
stripy
judicial
jumper
system.
to hold the fucking door open for you. Like, what the hell? It just does my head in when, like, you can't sell a match. You know, being locked in there with your arch enemy who you've been trying to escape from for the past few months. But you're
So
not
are
locked
you
in.
essentially saying that every cage match should end in pinfall or submission?
Or escape? In fact, actually, I think escape.
without
to be honest,
the door.
yeah.
They shouldn't even
But
have a
then
door on it. They
hang
should
on a
both
second.
both get the guys in the ring and then put the cage down without the door.
But the point that you brought up there was that you hate the fact that, well, like you said, the heel's been running away and you're
Yeah,
locking
yeah.
them in there. So, yeah, okay, you can beat them up, but then why would you want to run away from the person
True,
you've been trying to
true.
beat up? So the only person really
Well, I
that should
guess-
be escaping is the heel.
I guess you climb out when you've had enough of kicking the shit out of them.
Whereas
maybe.
Mick Foley
But
did,
okay,
he
but then
hadn't,
if
so he
you've
jumped
had
back
them-
in.
Well,
But then if
maybe
you've
let's put
beaten
the
the
ref
shit
in
out
there
of
with them, and then let's have it pinfall submission or escape the cage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just hate that whole idea of walking out the door because it's just the whole reason it was there for
But
was for
haven't
that
they
one.
changed the cage recently? Isn't it now just
What
lowered? Like, so there isn't
Possibly.
really a door in it. They've both got to be in there, then they lower it.
I'm not
I
sure.
thought
To
they
be
got
honest, I
rid of
can't
it.
remember the last cage match I saw.
Dean Ambrose
was a while
had
ago.
one on Raw, didn't he?
Yeah.
He did, yeah. but
Don't
I
really watch
remember
Raw
seeing
though,
the door.
yeah. But yes, I mean the whole idea behind the cage match, well, the whole door thing was so that you could have that spot where someone's crawling and they get pulled away from the door and then they jump.
Yeah.
That's it. You've had your spot. Now just lock the door. One of my favourite cage matches though was JBL and Big Show from No Way Out 2005, I think.
Okay.
It was barbed wire around the top, so you couldn't climb out,
Oh.
and the door was locked. In fact, actually, no, tell a lie. I don't think the door was locked. Once again, pissing me off. No, sorry, the door wasn't locked. You could just walk out. But there was barbed wire around the top. And that was the one where Big Show choke slammed him, JBL, off the top rope through the canvas.
Yeah.
He then turns to go to the door. Before he's got his feet on the floor, the ring bell goes. And I'm like, oh, okay, Big Show won. But that was a bit of an early ring bell. And then they announce that JBL's won. And Big Show's like, what the fuck? And it turns out that he'd slammed him through the ring, and J-Bo just crawled out underneath the ring, and he had his foot on the floor. Brilliant. That was a brilliant.
That's very clever.
Innovation. I'm going to keep using that word now that I remembered what it is. Innovation. Someone was going to speak. I was talking over someone there.
I think I've come across the worst gimmick match of all time. The dog poop match. Anyone know about this?
You rub your opponent's face in dog.
So,
you get a dog
I know there was a dog food match.
No,
with
so-
Bulldog, and he had to make his opponent eat
It
dog
was
food.
the Rock and Sock Connection
Brilliant.
versus the British Bulldogs. Davey Boy Smith and the 1 2. Is it one? It wasn't 1 2 3 Kid. It was his name has escaped me. But it was the British Bulldogs, right?
Okay.
So the
It
Rock.
wasn't his son, was it?
No, it wasn't.
No?
No. But anyway,
Yeah.
The Rock got Mankind to collect all of the dog poo that the dogs had left, because they used to come out with the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
And basically, the match was over when the Rock bottomed him into all of the dog poo.
Oh, Jesus.
Great match.
But that wasn't even the stipulation of the match. It was just
Right.
the Rock didn't want to touch him afterwards.
Nah.
It was just like, you're in shit. I'm not going to eat, and then walked off.
You're done. What about the hog pen? The hog.
Oh,
the hog pen.
really?
What was the idea that you had to put your opponent into
Do the pen.
the pen with a pig? And didn't Vicky Guerrero get shoved in it? Triple H seems to love that.
The first hog pen match was Hillbilly. No, it wasn't Hillbilly Jim. It was Henry Godwin versus Triple H, when Triple H was still in his
Helmsley.
it's like
Helmsley.
posh man thing. Yeah.
What are the words? Do you know? But that's a shit gimmick. But what about the best gimmicks of? Okay, remember the 3 stages of Hell's match?
Love
So you
those
can have,
matches.
like,
Love those.
3 gimmicks
That
in
was
one.
really
What
good.
would be your ultimate sort of 3 stages of Hell?
3 stages
who
of
Who
Hell.
would the opponents be?
I don't know.
Personally, for me,
Now.
I loved the Triple H and Stone Cold one.
Yeah.
Because I think the whole point is that because the first one played into one guy's wheelhouse, the
Yeah.
second one played into the other guy, and then the third
Yeah.
one was just a fucking cage match. Like, just fucking
Yeah.
go for it. One of the we saw one live actually, wasn't it? It was a pinfall street fight and pinfall submission then street fight.
That's pretty shit.
That was alright. Had a few fun spots.
No, but for a 3 stages of Hell match, I
think
would
for-
have much better stipulations.
I think for a 3 stages of Hell match, for me personally, I'd start with something like a street fight. And then after that, you bring it back into the arena and you'd have like a tables match. And then after that, you'd bring the cage down and you'd have either a Hell in a Cell or a cage.
Hell in a Cell, I think.
I'd
Because you can just put it down and it's, that
See,
would be the ones I'd go for.
There's a part of me that wanted to go really crazy shit. Like, we'll start off with an Ultimate X match. Then we make it an Inferno match. And then we'll finish on a dog poo match.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, yeah, why not? Yeah.
That first blood match.
Oh.
Going into
Or starting off with the first blood match.
yeah.
Yes,
Good.
yes,
Yeah.
that's a good shout.
And then you
Let's
have
let's book this.
And then you have something like a table, so it's standard, and then
Have a
Finders
TLC.
keepers match.
well, yeah,
So not only do you trash the house, you also cover all the walls and everything else in blood.
The last bit is a combination between a ladder match and a Hell in a Cell. So you got to get outside of the Hell, get onto the thing, get a ladder to go get the title, or whoever.
Well, I
wins.
said that. In fact, there were one of the Lethal Lockdown matches.
Yeah, that's where I got the idea from.
Jeff Hardy did a frog splash. Well, just fell off a ladder that was on the top of a cage through
No,
a table.
AJ Styles.
AJ was in the match, I think, but it was Brian Kendrick, I think, that
was it?
got splashed through the table.
But that's where I got it from. Just get
okay.
extra.
Or could you imagine just a Hell in a Cell match, but the title's hanging up in the actual cell, and you have to get the ladder in the
that's
cell? That
shit.
could be
Nah,
interesting.
shit.
So then you can get someone like climbing the wall.
Yeah, that would be too.
Maybe.
You got to get
20 foot.
outside of the
It's
thing.
20 foot high now, though. 20 foot tall.
Yeah. Ask Shane.
Yeah, Shane will
knows
tell
all
you.
about that.
Shane will tell you. Any kind of favourite gimmick matches that we can think of?
The
that,
3
like,
stages of
stand
Hell.
out?
War Games. Absolutely loved War
As
Games.
in the actual match though, like as I say, Hell in a Cell match, Undertaker, Mankind, 3 stages of Hell. TLC, the Hardys.
I'd say I
Dudleys
was going to
and-
say I think the original TLC
yeah.
is probably up there
the
with me.
WrestleMania one? Was that the original?
Well, there was a SummerSlam and then there was a WrestleMania.
I love the WrestleMania
one.
one.
One of my favourites actually, WrestleMania 10 ladder match between Shawn and Razor. That was pretty good.
That was really good.
That was
actually.
pretty tasty.
It's up there in my top 5 of favourite matches.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That was an opportunity to promote some more podcasts on iTunes and Stitcher because we have a top 10 that made the top 10.
We did it. It was number one, if I remember
number
rightly.
one.
The top 10 of the first 10 years.
What I like is War Games in WCW when they had
two rings side by side.
Side by side with a cage, like a Hell in a Cell, but it's like a cage. So it wasn't quite as big and had a roof on top.
With the two cages side by side,
Yep.
is it literally, so you've got 6 ring posts, or is it like you literally got two, so there's like a little gap between the two? Or is it literally one rope cutting up the 2 rings?
Yes, in both. Right, it's literally 2 rings
Yep.
right next to each other, hard up next to each other.
So yeah.
So
they
you do have 2
very
rings.
It's not one
slight
giant
gap.
ring with...
No.
Yeah,
It is.
okay.
But,
I need to see some of these matches. I really want
It's
to see
absolutely
some.
brilliant. So you get the point of the War Games, do you? Where you start with 2 people. It's like Lethal Lockdown.
Yeah,
It's essentially exactly like Lethal Lockdown. Absolutely fantastic. But it just has two rings.
What's the best one that you would advise me to go and watch tonight, right now, on the generic wrestling network?
The one that's okay. It wasn't the best.
Well, I've just asked you what the best one is. What's the best one?
It's not the best,
It's not
but
the
go watch
best,
this
but
one.
this one.
It depends on what you like. See, I remember most vividly is the Legion of Doom or the Dungeon of Doom. Can't remember which one's which. Up against.
There's a very big difference between those
Okay,
two.
one, yeah. But on the top of my head, I can't remember which one's
Okay.
which. To me, they're both the same. They're not, but then whatever.
I'm pretty sure
It's
there's
them
some
versus
80...
Hulk Hogan and Macho Man and
I think
Lex
that's
Luger
going
and
to be
Sting.
the Dungeon of Doom.
Dungeon
I'm
of
pretty
Doom.
sure there's some 80s fanatics out there would like to lynch you right now.
Yeah. Well,
Okay, Legion of Doom, Road Animal Hawk, Road Animal Warrior.
I just
Dungeon of
couldn't
Doom
remember,
was-
all right? I've had a
Dungeon
bit,
of-
I've had coffee, I had some water. I don't know what's going on these
You're
days.
just a mess.
I am, pretty much. But yeah, it was him, them against Hulk Hogan, that lot. And it was... I like the gimmick of Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man because they're all done up in sort of camouflage kind of cargo. See,
Done up in a box.
Exactly. And they come out and they basically just had sort of smoke screens shove it in their eyes and they beat the living shit out of them.
Right.
And then this was like a kind of an introduction to the Giant, aka the Big Show.
Yeah.
And that kind of ending was quite cool. And the whole feud
so
between Hulk
do you
Hogan.
remember what year or what event this was?
1995?
So 5-ish. I'll go find it.
No, 5 War Games. Just
Cool.
search that.
I'll go have a look.
It'll be on the network.
What about that match that was? I can't remember the name of it. The one that was in WCW. The one that was on the back of a flatbed truck on the road, and they were
That
driving
would
around
have
Atlanta.
Dustin.
It was Dustin
Red-
Rhodes and
Yeah.
the Blacktop Bully, I think.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
something like
And they both got fined for blading.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
They
Then they
got-
both get fired for blading.
I
Possibly.
think so. They got fined for it, even though
Possibly.
the whole idea was to beat each other up on the back of a moving flatbed.
Yeah, and the winner was the one
covered in-
that blew the horn,
Yeah.
Just
so
absolutely.
to speak.
But then you had
Blow my horn in the back of a van. Yeah.
Hulk Hogan and the Giant, as I just talked about them, having a monster truck
Oh,
match
that
on the
was
top of
horrible.
on top of a building.
Wow.
I think at the end of the night, the Giant flew off the building or something
Yeah.
like that. It's like, oh my
Jesus.
God, it was terrible acting. I can see why Hulk Hogan had so many films.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And you've watched one of them.
Sorry?
You've watched one of them, haven't you?
Suburban Commando.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that was a film.
It was a film.
It was a movie that we watched.
Speaking of best gimmicks, I know we haven't touched on the wrestlers yet, but surely the best gimmick would be The Undertaker.
Without a doubt. Are we going to split this into 2 and we're going to go...
Why not?
Gimmick
Let's
wrestlers?
keep it wrestlers.
We'll come back to that one. then.
Yeah. Oh,
We'll
no,
come back to
definitely.
it. That's fine.
Well, actually, what mentioning Undertaker, some of his specific...
Casket
gimmick-
matches.
Casket matches, buried alive
Brilliant.
matches.
I love the
Yeah.
buried alive matches. Just the whole concept of it is just like, what the hell? They're
Mm-hmm.
actually burying this guy alive. He's going to die.
Isn't that how he... Oh, no, it wasn't how he got rid of Paul Bearer, was it? He buried him in concrete.
I can't remember, actually.
Buried somebody in concrete.
I think it was Paul Bearer, but I can't remember.
Possibly. If it happened on Raw, I didn't watch it. I've only watched the
I don't think it was on Raw.
It wasn't
I
on a
think it was
pay-per-view.
I think it was.
No. Well,
It's not one you've got to yet.
Yeah,
it was
clearly not.
just
Oh,
before Paul Bearer died, so it was quite recent.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's not how he died, was it?
They buried him in concrete.
Really
yeah.
bad spot that went wrong.
I think it was at WrestleMania.
Wow.
I've got a feeling it was at WrestleMania.
Okay, well, I'll let you know when I get to it.
Thanks.
Well, actually, the ultimate gimmick match, Royal Rumble.
I don't know if that's. a gimmick anymore. I think we've just taken it on as it's a match.
It's a gimmick match, if you ask me.
Well,
Yeah.
I think technically it is a gimmick.
It's not
Yeah,
a
I guess
one-on-one, one fall to a finish.
No, that's very true.
It's a very specific match. Although, actually, it kind of roots back to the quiz that we did a couple of weeks ago. Is there any difference between a Royal Rumble and a Battle Royale? Or is it the Royal Rumble happens at the last weekend
It's
in
because you
January?
got that question wrong because you put the Acolytes and they won some.
Well, I've just watched the match, which is it's about tag team battle royal, but it's exactly the same as a Royal Rumble. You got to go over the top rope,
Right.
both feet land on the floor. It's a fucking Royal Rumble, if you ask me. It's just I want to. Is there any difference
That's
other
very
than
true, 'cause if
the
you
Royal
look-
Rumble has to take place in the January pay-per-view, and if it
I
doesn't
But no,
suppose
happen,
you
it's that
know the
thing-
difference between a Battle Royal and a Royal Rumble.
But
Tell
no,
me.
go back to the most recent WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Baron Corbin winning the Andre Giant Battle Royal.
Battle Royal, yep.
He just
Battle Royal,
throwing
everyone
people.
starts in the ring. Royal Rumble, no, not everyone
Yeah, but you're
starts
just
in the ring.
essentially just throwing him over the top.
Yeah, that
Okay.
bit's the same.
Okay.
But in terms of
I will concede.
a Royal Rumble,
So the Royal Rumble is when there's countdown and it's
Yeah, yeah.
it's
Yeah.
Well, I guess
And
yeah.
that's
a
always
fair
the fun
point.
of it, who's
I
gonna
ask
come
a
out.
question, I get an answer. That's fine.
mic drop.
It's not normally the other way around where you ask me a question. But yeah, it kind of. But then, did the tag team Royal Rumble happen like that? Have you seen it, Luke?
No, I haven't.
So it definitely happened on Raw.
I haven't seen the tag team. Royal
to be
Rumble.
honest,
I have to find out.
I was very much in the area of WCW back in the day. and I
Yeah,
haven't actually seen
yeah.
it.
But I mean, I love the. I mean, look at how much fun we had at Royal Rumble this year. I already
amazing.
can't wait for the Royal Rumble next year. It's after Christmas. I'm already looking forward to after Christmas next year. What the fuck? But yeah, I absolutely. I think it's one of my favourite nights of the year. It's definitely
really is.
the second best
I
after
couldn't
WrestleMania.
give a shit about. To be honest, anymore, I can't give a shit about Survivor Series or SummerSlam. It's always about Royal Rumble and
True.
WrestleMania.
Well, I think-
Survivor Series was ruined for me when Ziggler got rid of the Authority. Then 2 weeks later, they were back.
Oh yeah, but that's just
That
shit
annoyed me.
wrestling booking. That's
Yeah,
just
it
because
is.
they got no fucking ideas.
No.
It pisses me off. I think we'll still go and watch SummerSlam and Survivor Series when they're on. Hopefully.
SummerSlam for me is like the summer version of WrestleMania.
Yeah, it's meant to be
It's
the
fit.
second biggest show of the year.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of SummerSlam.
Were you
Always was back in the day because I obviously didn't have school the next day. I could stay up and watch it. It's brilliant. But no, it's just like, whatever.
Got work in the morning now.
What are our thoughts on gimmick match pay-per-views like Hell in a Cell, like Elimination Chamber, like Money in
Yeah.
the
It
Bank?
ruins the speciality of the Elimination Chamber. Yeah, we know it's going to happen, but it doesn't build up to a massive
that's
feud
it.
or a massive
I-
No,
title shot.
exactly.
I guess in a way the match is there and they just pick two people whether their feud
they could
calls for it or
essentially
not.
work. They could work if you told the story better.
Yeah.
So, like this year, they didn't do Elimination Chamber. They replaced it with Fastlane.
But they did. It was on the network, wasn't it? Ollie?
Yeah, it was on the network.
Just on the
That
network.
was when it was Kevin Owens and John Cena eliminated. And that was when.
It was a network
Was it?
special, wasn't it?
Was it an hour special?
Well, to me, there's no difference between a network special and a pay per view now
Not
because
anymore.
everything's on everything's on the network.
yeah. But yeah, so like if you knew, right, so come February, there's an Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
This story starts at Survivor Series. That gives you 3 months to build a story which could end in an Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Which would work. But they don't do that. They just
No.
go, oh, here's 6 random people.
Yeah.
And one of them's a champion.
We'll
and
have
then just a fight.
we'll have some kind of entry matches a few weeks before on Raw and SmackDown.
It's like the ladder match at WrestleMania 32.
Kind of just a standard
They just picked random names out of a hat
Yeah.
and gone, oh, these guys can be in it.
How can you build a storyline around something like the Elimination Chamber? Getting,
Well, I
how
mean-
can you get
look
6
at-
Okay,
guys?
maybe not recently, but you could have had the Shield and the Wyatts
That's more of a
because
tag team, isn't it?
no, but the thing is, you've still got 4 pods, so you could have started with Luke Harper and Roman Reigns,
Yeah,
and then
I guess,
every
yeah.
couple of minutes, one of them comes out, so it then becomes a 2-on-1, and then it become a 3-on-1, and then it could become a
then,
2-on-3 or whatever.
Look at the pay per view that's just happened. Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
Intercontinental match. Kevin Owens, The Miz, Sami Zayn, Cesaro. 4 men, and they told a really good story getting them 4 into the match in the first place. If you ask me, like
So them
the
in an
weeks leading
Elimination
up.
Chamber would have worked.
Well, no, they're
you'd
in a
2 more,
they're in a
but yeah.
fatal 4-way for the
Yeah,
IC
yeah,
belt.
yeah,
So
no,
that's
but I mean,
that's
in
4
that-
people in a match
in that-
with a storyline.
In the Elimination Chamber aspect, that's what I meant.
Yeah, it would work.
It would have
Yeah.
worked. It would have worked. I mean,
would
you,
work.
I guess so.
you can add a couple more into it, but then I say it's just a case of placing things right.
What about
I
if you
think.
had 3 people who are feuding and they're all put into one Elimination Chamber? Because if you think like Kevin Owens and Cesaro's going at it first of all, and then Sami Zayn comes out of a pod, That's going to tie up something else, and then the Miz obviously comes out a bit later.
Yeah.
That could work quite nicely.
Yeah, of course it could.
It could.
But that's the thing. It comes down to storytelling. So you can still have your Elimination Chambers and your Hell in a Cells and your matches like that, your pay-per-views like that, but you need to tell the story going into it.
Yeah.
You need to have it as,
I'll hark back to the WrestleMania where Seth Rollins won the World Heavyweight Championship.
That was brilliant.
That was perfect because Seth Rollins as a character, he's wronged so many people. He could have had a 6-man match. With a storyline for everybody, because Randy Orton had just beat him earlier in the night, so he's got his claim there.
Yep.
He turned his back on Ambrose and Reigns, so there's none of the guys there.
Yep.
He was feuding with Kane. He pissed Kane off because of the Authority. There's that bit there.
Yeah.
There was
he upset Lesnar in that match.
Lesnar never got beat. So there's 5 people right there that he could have easily thrown in, like for example an Elimination Chamber match if they wanted to. Yeah. In fact, that would have been awesome. Can you imagine that? Post WrestleMania, Seth Rollins starts at number 1 with Brock Lesnar at number 2, and the other 4 people that he's wronged.
Or Seth Rollins is the last one to come out, and everyone just stops fighting because they know Seth Rollins is coming out.
It's all about psychology, ultimately. We've been talking quite a while though about gimmick matches.
We certainly have. Should we wrap it up there? And
should we take a break and we'll come back to gimmick wrestlers next week?
Why not? So why not check us out on Facebook? It's facebook.com/Figure4Radio. We are on Twitter and Instagram. It's at Figure4Radio. Why not go onto our website and check out all our other podcasts on iTunes and Stitcher? That website is figure4radio.weebly.com. Thank you to the mastermind, Ollie Spring.
Thank you very much.
And thank you to the Lucas, Luco Mac.
Thanks very much.
I've been the Killer Carl Brown. See you next time.
See ya.
Lock it in.
This has been a Figure 4 Radio production. For more podcasts, go to our website www.figure4radio.weebly.com.